A max severity SAP flaw is already under active attack just 3 days after patching. A supply chain scare turned out to be the wrong culprit, and Oracle just handed you a free database security tool. Let's run the day.
Oracle Database Security Central gives organizations a single dashboard to view risk across all their database environments. It is free until the end of February 2027, so now is the time to evaluate it before budget decisions are required. If you run Oracle databases, spin up a trial and benchmark your current visibility gaps.
A maximum severity remote code execution vulnerability in SAP Commerce Cloud was patched just 3 days ago and is already being actively targeted in attacks, according to threat intelligence firm Diffused. If your organization runs SAP Commerce Cloud, treat this as an emergency patch, not a scheduled maintenance item. Check your SAP patch level today and isolate the service if you cannot patch immediately.
The supply chain compromise affecting over 2,500 organizations was traced to the Trivy vulnerability scanner, not Light LMM as initially reported. More than 95% of affected companies were already exposed before any malicious Light LLM packages were published, meaning the real attack vector was hiding in plain sight. If you use Trivy in your CI/CD pipeline, audit its configuration and network access permissions immediately.
The Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts confirmed to TechCrunch it will begin publicly disclosing how often judges have authorized the use of spyware to wiretap suspected criminals. This is a meaningful transparency step that lets researchers and civil liberties advocates track the real-world frequency of government spyware deployment. Watch for the first published figures to understand the actual scale of authorized surveillance in the U.S. legal system.
A new service highlighted by Krebs on Security helps users identify which companies are responsible for the ads they see and the data being harvested from apps you use daily. The underlying data is semi-public, but has historically been difficult to parse without specialized tools. Run your own domains and apps through it to see what third-party trackers are attached to your digital presence, and use MonMyIP alongside it to check your network exposure. A detailed walkthrough of the HACKTHEBOX cap machine demonstrates how misconfigured web applications can expose sensitive network capture files, leading to credential theft and full system compromise. The attack chain is straightforward and educational for developers who underestimate what an exposed PCAP file can reveal. If you run any web-facing diagnostic or monitoring endpoints, verify they require authentication before serving file data. The new DELL XPS 13 brings build quality rarely seen at its price point, making it a credible option for security-conscious professionals who need a reliable daily driver without enterprise pricing. Hardware quality matters for security teams who handle sensitive work on personal devices. Consider whether your team's endpoint hardware meets the physical security and durability standards your threat model actually requires.
A widely discussed essay by cryptographer Matthew Green argues that as encryption becomes ubiquitous, law enforcement is increasingly turning to device hacking as a substitute for wiretapping, with significant legal and civil liberties implications. The Hacker News thread generated over 120 comments debating the technical and policy trade-offs. Developers building encrypted products should understand that strong encryption shifts attacker focus to endpoint compromise, not the protocol itself.
Maxim Silnikov, a 40-year-old national from Eastern Europe and the creator of the Ransom Cartel ransomware group, was sentenced to 16 years in U.S. federal prison after the group attacked at least 18 companies worldwide. The Department of Justice prosecution demonstrates that ransomware operators face real long-term consequences, even when operating from abroad. This sentencing should factor into your incident response planning. Reporting attacks to authorities does contribute to eventual prosecutions.
Bruce Schneier has published his upcoming speaking schedule, including appearances at LACon V in Anaheim and an online session via Zoom, offering accessible opportunities to hear from one of the field's most respected voices. Public talks from senior security researchers are underrated resources for staying current on policy and threat landscape shifts. Check his schedule if you want unfiltered expert perspective beyond the daily news cycle. That is your daily brief.
Subscribe so you never miss a critical patch window, and head to MonMyIP to turn today's headlines into real checks on your own systems. Stay sharp.